at the place where you feel ready to share that. I think that's important to like also normalize that you could be in a stage of your healing where you can really resonate with something like this, but you don't have to be publicly sharing it too. And I want to just also say that that doesn't make you any less valid or important or worthy of all of this, like whether you choose to talk about it publicly or not. And you might be at different stages. Like, for example, I'm an eating disorder survivor, and that was when I was quite a bit younger, but I still didn't feel comfortable to talk about it. I only started talking about it on my Instagram like last year, and I've technically been recovered from that. I say that in quotes because it always kind of lives with you a little bit, for a long time. But there was this stigma I had and shame I was carrying. And so just like want to normalize and validate that, like, you can keep pieces of yourself private. You can choose when to share them. You could always keep them private.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing that holds people back is like thinking like, will people think that I'm looking for attention? Will people think that like I'm weird, or will they be afraid of being out? Like with bipolar, there's so many,
Mm,
you know, stereotypes I'll say about
yeah,
it.
I was
And
going to say
even,
stereotype. Yeah.
yeah, even now, like I do kind of question that diagnosis. Sometimes I think it might be another assortment of things.
Mm,
But I did, feel when I was diagnosed that was what was going on. And it felt good. It felt good to have that diagnosis. And it felt good to finally understand myself more. And even if you don't live with mental illness, or you don't really identify with anything like that, even in your family, I just think it speaks to learning about yourself. I think that's a lot of just stepping into yourself. You have to know who you are first. And that's what this podcast will be about as well. Is I'm bringing on astrologers. I'm bringing on a human design person, actually, Becca. I'm bringing her on in a little while, a couple weeks. Um,
what is
and
your human design?
I don't remember. She like did it with me a couple of years ago, just through Clubhouse, I think was the app, like where you talk. And yeah, I don't even remember what it was. And I was like very in the thick of my own business, but I loved it when I was listening to it, and I wanted to get back into it. That Enneagram, or however you pronounce it, like all of those things, I think it really helps to understand yourself more. And if you do feel, I mean, I think we can both say if people feel like they do need to see, like, is this anxiety? Is it normal? Is it something that you could be treated for? Is that what's holding you back? I think you should just know, if you're listening, that it's worth getting a look at. It's worth talking to somebody, because if there is something, you're not going to be your best self if you're not, putting yourself first. And that mental health is so important to do that. Um, but yeah, I think we touched on so many things. Is there any other topic that's come up in this conversation that you want to talk about before we kind of wrap up?
Just like going off what you said there at the end, like I just want to normalize like the work of therapy too. Like I used to have this belief that like I was in and out of therapy, and now I actually see it as like an ongoing maintenance type thing. Where like I go like once a month or however often I need to. And I'm in like the best place I've ever been, and I still do that. So I like mentally is what I mean. And I just want to normalize that as well. And I just want to piggyback on that reminder that like, yeah, there's no shame in getting help and recognizing if you need help.
Yeah, thank you. I just was like shocked again, because I consider myself a therapist hopper, because I've probably seen like a dozen therapists in my life. Um, and I still think it's more important. That's fine. And trying to find a therapist that works for you is
Yeah.
difficult. It's like a
Yeah.
relationship. You should
Oh
take it
yeah.
serious. But yeah, therapy really does need to be more accepted, and not so like something that anybody would just be like confused by, or like, I don't know. I just think we all kind of think if somebody finds out I go to therapy, they'll think that I have something wrong with me. But obviously, we believe that's not the case at all. So,
No,
yeah,
absolutely not.
yeah. I think there's so much we talked about that, anybody listening can walk away with. And I really appreciate you coming on. I think really what we're saying aligns so well with each other. And I just love what you're doing. I think it's awesome. How can people follow you, and like what are you on and where can people find you online?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the invitation.
Of
It
course.
was such a beautiful invitation and opportunity. I'm on Instagram at lauren.osselton. I'm assuming you'll put that in the show notes so people don't need to
Yes,
try and
yes,
spell that.
yes.
I'm also on Pinterest, but I don't know if people really. But yeah, and the best thing to do is to sign up for my newsletter. So maybe what I'll do is send you one of my like free resources and you can just put that in the show notes. And if you want to join
Yeah.
my newsletter, you can download. I'll send you my I have this free journal. It's like a digital journal with 70 free prompts. So
Awesome.
you guys can, if you, whether you're new to self improvement work or further on your evolution. Like sometimes I even use guided journal prompts when I don't know what to journal about. So I have this guide with 70 free ones. So I'll send that to you and you can include that in the show notes. And then you can hop on my email list or follow me on Instagram.
Awesome. That sounds great. And I know a lot of people will do that because this is such a great introduction to what you're doing. And I think we can all walk away from this talk with, at least feeling good about ourselves and feeling like we are on the right track. Something's there helping us out, and that people like you are out there open to helping and supporting us if we need a little extra support. So, thank you again so much. I'm so happy to have you on. And thank you for listening to everybody out there. Don't forget to like the podcast, rate it, follow me on Instagram. I'm on TikTok too. And let me know what you guys think of this episode. I would love to have Lauri back down the road and kind of connect again. And if you guys have any more questions for her, I'm sure she would accept some DMs in her,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, her DMs and just reach out. Yeah, and thank you so much again to everybody listening and to you, Lauri. I am so excited to get this up and share you with everybody.
Thank you.